In this video, I'm going to show you the solution to the first assignment, which was to create a program that will compute and convert degrees, minutes, and seconds to degrees, or go from decimal to the DMS representation. So let's first look at the solution to the first one, which is to go from DMS to degrees. What I have here is the starting program that you were given, and what you have to do is implement an equation that computes degrees. And this was part of what you did on the worksheet. You had to write this out in an equation form, assuming that you had the input of degrees, minutes, and seconds. So for this particular function, what we want to do is take this representation, write this as code, and essentially the solution here is that we want to add degrees to this quantity of minutes times 60 plus seconds, and divide that by 3600. And one of the things I want to point out here is that there is promotion occurring here, because we have seconds plus minutes times 60. This part of the equation is promoting minutes into a double. So initially we have an integer plus times 60 plus a double, and so this ensures that this entire thing gets promoted to a double, because you always promote in order of the complexity of the data type. So a double is more complex than an integer, for instance. Okay, so that means that this entire thing, this part of the equation divided by 3600 is promoted to a double. This double plus this integer promotes the entire thing to a double. Okay, so then once we do that, we get this degrees value computed as a double. So let's go ahead and run this part. Run it. Wait for my interface to come up. Here it is. Okay, so now I'm doing the DMS to degrees, and I'm going to convert 35, 53, 23.035, actually I'm going to call this 38, do DMS to decimal, and so I get this value of 38.88973. So anyway, so that's the first part of the solution. The second part of the solution is a little more involved. And I also need to mention here that we're not using negative numbers or anything like that. You're allowed to assume that that the degrees, for instance, in this case, is non-negative. All right, so let's do the second part. We have to convert this decimal into three components of the degrees, minutes, and seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And actually, in the comments, in the comment block before the program, I have some information in there, and this is essentially that computation that you had to do on the worksheet. So the first thing that says is to subtract the whole number portion of the coordinate, leaving the fractional part, and the whole number is the number of degrees. Okay, so let's do that. I mentioned in class that in order to compute the degrees, what you want is to have the input. So whatever it is, and I'm just going to write an example here. So let's say the number is this 38.8878. I'm interested in two pieces here. I'm interested in the integer part, which is this piece here, and then I'm also interested in the fractional part, which is this piece here. So since the value that I'm being given, this variable, is a decimal and it's a double, what I want to do is I want to cast that to an integer in order to get the integer part. So in order to get the 38 out of that, I would need to do a cast. I'm going to do a cast here of decimal. Okay, so now degrees is the integer part of the input. The second thing that I want to do is I want to get the fractional part, and in this case here what I need to do is define a new variable. So I'm going to do that, and so I'm going to call this degree remainder, DEG, and very simply just going to subtract the integer part, so this 38, from the original number, which is decimal. So I'm going to do this, decimal minus degrees. Okay, so what this leaves me with then is that degree remainder is the fractional part. Okay, so now what do we do with this fractional part? So it says here up in the comment, multiply the remaining fractional part by 60. This will produce the number of minutes in the whole number portion. Okay, so let me go ahead and do that. Going to multiply the remainder times 60, and I'm going to define another variable. I don't actually need to do this, but I'm just go ahead and do it anyway. I want to say this minutes temp is equal to degree remainder times 60. Okay, so so this is actually pretty close to what I want for the minutes. If I look at the next part of the description up here, it tells me that I need to multiply the fractional part of the number of minutes by 60, which will give me the number of seconds. So I think that I'm actually done computing the minutes, and so all I need to do is I need to convert this minutes temp into an integer to be able to assign it to minutes. So I'm going to cast that minutes temp. Okay, and now the last thing that I need to do here is I need to compute the seconds, and so I still need the fractional part of this variable. So I'm going to compute that as double min remainder. I'm going to set that equal to minutes temp minus minutes. Oh, and I do need to I need to cast this. It's telling it create local variable min temp. Oh, minute. I'm sorry. It was called minutes temp. That's the problem with it. Okay, so so now I have my minutes remainder part, the fractional part. Now I'm going to use that number to compute the seconds. So it says here the fractional part of the number of minutes by 60. So I want to multiply the fractional part by 60, and that's going to produce the number of seconds. So I'm just going to say min remainder times 60 for seconds. Okay, so that's the program. If you just follow the steps, and then just remember this fact here that if I want the fractional part, I just subtract the original number minus the integer part to get the fractional part. And if I want the integer part, I just do a cast, and that's what I've done here. Okay, so let's test this out. And for my test case, I'm going to use the number that I have up here in the comments. So 87.728055, and I'm going to convert the decimal to DMS. And so here I see 87 degrees, 43 minutes, and then 41 seconds. It's actually a roundup from this 41.997. Okay, and then going the other direction, if I do DMS to decimal, I should get pretty much the same number. So I'm going to change this to 0.0. I do my conversion, and you see here that I get that value. Anyway, so that's the solution to that first assignment. There is one more thing that I would want to add to this, and that's handling of the sign values for the input. So what I will do is I will do that in a separate video, and I will upload that shortly.